concluded our early executive session. Moving along, there is, guys, one non-agenda item I will be adding. This will be a resolution to authorize the borough to continue being part of the Community Block Development Grant Program through Passaic County. We need to submit a resolution by June 17th that we will opt into the program for 2014, 15, and 16. I just want to do it tonight, so I don't have to rush on it. This is a program we have participated in for a number of years. This is the program that this year we applied for the sewer water lines on Ryerson Ave, which we should hear in the next month or so. It's based on low, moderate income eligible parts of town, and we'll simply be adding a resolution tonight authorizing continued membership and participation in the called the CDBG program, Community Block Development Grant. Okay, so I just state that earlier, so it will become part of new business item C. Okay, with that, I need a motion to open early public comment. So moved. Second. All in favor? Aye. Anyone wishing to speak to an agenda item, please come up and state your name and address for the record. Yes, sir.
Yes, Al Miller from 7 Street. The agenda items we're collecting, I might have missed this before for not attending, sorry, but what is the PRBRSA?
That is the Quantic River Basin Regional Sewer Authority. We are members, that's where our sewer goes to, with Riverdale, Butler, and Kinlaw. And it's an authority that was established many, many years ago, and that's where our sewer goes to be processed.
Now, this Edwin...
Ed Howard is our representative, along with a few others.
We've had this...
Yeah, he's been, matter of fact, we actually authorized it in January, but the authority requires a formal resolution, so we're just revisiting this to get them a formal resolution. We confirmed it in January at the reorganization. Ed has served for a number of years on this commission, along with
No problem, I didn't know what it was.
Yep.
One other question related to the agenda items. I guess you guys review and approve the payment of bills?
Tonight we will, yes.
Okay. Now, I see that Riverdale has their payment of bills on their website, they put on every month. Is that a possibility, something we could do?
We were advised that the bills are not public until they're paid. So to answer your question, I believe after tonight's meeting, the bills could go on. I know Councilwoman Sherman had brought that up, and we never did anything with it.
Yeah, I think, as a matter of fact, not having spoken to you, I did speak to the attorney about it today. And he said to me, yes, you can put these on the website on Friday, when the agenda becomes public, the bills can become public also. We don't have to vote on them first.
I mean, we were told by finance that they were public until they were paid, which is fine.
That's what I said to him, and he said, no, I don't told you that, that's not true. So that's what he told me today.
How would you do it?
But now they would basically represent the expenses for the town for that particular month.
Correct.
Another question, a little related but not totally.
Sure.
Now that takes care of our expenses. Now, I mean, I see going forward there's going to be another bond, you're looking to approve a bond for $400,000.
No, that's reappropriating an existing bond.
Okay.
Not
Let me
new.
ask, I'm sorry?
It's not new debt.
Okay. Well, that's for the budget meeting. The question I have is, I mean, if somebody wanted to track or know what is being spent of the bond money, either new or existing, I mean, how would somebody know or have any access to look at it? I mean, if you put the monthly expenses on the website, anybody can come up and look at any month, let's look at May and see what the expenses are and know if you wanted to compare that to what the budget run rate is for the year, for the month. How do you know about bonds?
I was going to say that the bills list is going to include any
Correct.
expenditure, no matter
Oh,
where the
well,
appropriation is.
revenue as well as any capital spend with bonds.
Revenue.
I'm sorry, expenses and the capital part would be the bond.
Yeah.
That would be on the
If
approval.
you're paying a contractor out of a bond to do sidewalks, for example,
Correct.
it's going to appear on the bills list.
There's a capital C on on
Right.
that item.
Right.
Okay.
And the account numbers, but the C is for capital.
You need the, sort of the chart of accounts or whatever to figure out
Yeah,
where
we get
the money's coming
It's on the
from.
bill list, if it does come out every month, both capital and expenses would be on the bill list. Okay, great. Let me ask you this again, is this all part of the transparency thing? I mean, does Bloomingdale have a transparency ordinance in place? That's something, I've heard of it before.
Well, we post whatever the governor's best practices require us to do.
Okay.
We perform, whether it be financial statements posted online, 3-4 years of budgets, whatever the rule is on that.
So what do we have, do we do that on a local basis, or do we follow state rules?
We follow state best practices, what's required.
All right, well, thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Seeing no one, can I have a motion to close? Sorry, we have first and second? Short and Demoto. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. There's no presentation this evening. Reports from professionals, department heads, committees, liaisons, etc. Jane, do you have anything for us?
Just two things. First, I'd like to thank everyone who participated in the Memorial Day Parade yesterday. That parade. And also, Passaic County, if you go on her website, she has dates for anyone that will be around election day. She has it in, what does it say? The 2000 primary election is Tuesday, June 4th. Registered Passaic County voters who can't get to the polls on election day may vote ahead of time at the Passaic County Clerk's office. And then she has the dates on there, Tuesday, May 28th through June 31st, from 8:30 a.m. to 4. With extended hours on Saturday, June 1st, from 9 to 1, and 8:30 to 3 on Monday, July 3rd. That's on her website also.
Tracy, anything for us? Governing body, as I said in an email I sent to everyone, I've added to the end of the agenda the list of governing body committees so that we can just each meeting review standing committees and citizens and reports as such. Continuing with that new budget committee, again, pretty much we have a meeting Thursday at 8 p.m. for the presentation on the first of two, roughly three, counting the adoption. Anything else for us?
No, that's,
Most of that information we can discuss now. Government ops, John? Nothing new. Public health safety, and we meet on Monday. Ordinance review, again, consists of planning board members as well as our construction code officials. They met last week and I'm waiting on some draft ordinances regarding parking on Main Street and a chicken ordinance that the public has looked to be reviewed. So that'll be coming with another governing body soon. Shared services, other than I've updated you at the last meeting where we have successfully been performing a new shared service with Kinnelon servicing their police cars. We also I met last Monday with John Whitehead, their DPW superintendent, to begin scheduling our basin cleaning and jet backing various storm lines that need it. The shared service we entered into. So those are the two most recent and working quite well. Flood committee, again, this seems to be a waiting game. I know Jack Miller's here with us today. We should be going to bid by the middle of June for our Main Street Sloan Park project. Most de-snagging has been done. There's some more de-snagging work that needs to be done by Oakwood. We're trying to get a waiver on permit because the Sandy waiver rule is still out there, but our engineer wants to make sure we can consider continue de-snagging under that rule. And finally today, the failed sidewalk on Van Dam corner of Chestnut has begun repair after a long time in disrepair. So that's good news on flood. Grants committee, I have nothing to report on that, other than we have sought again for the nano loan program, which we should hear by June or July. We sought over $1 million in principal forgiveness, 50% principal forgiveness on 5 of our roads for new for the water lines. And we're waiting to hear on that. So, anyone else have anything? Paving is supposed to start, it will start Thursday. It's supposed to start today, the contractor had a problem with his milling machine. And that was on my mayor's report, so I'll go over that. Councilwoman? Yeah.
I know that the seniors are very busy. I think people, with your seniors, we have a great senior program. They have concerts scheduled this month. They have trips, bingo, they go race tracks, they take trips, they do grandparents and kids bingo. They were supposed to meet yesterday, but didn't because of the holiday. The Environmental Commission is exploring how other towns finance their property maintenance and how that works, and we should have a report from that, from the Environmental Commission. The health, we did last month, we did the tobacco resolution. They meet again on next Monday. Yesterday at the parade, it was funny, Mrs. Hainish asked me, when are they ever going to fix Chestnut Street? Every time I walk, I have to go in the street around it, and we just reported, that
It'll be done by the end of the week.
that it started, so she'll be happy about that. The only other thing I have under department reports is we've been having a conversation about, now I see in our notebooks that department reports is crossed out, and it just says reports, but this is what the reports we've been getting for a couple of years from the construction department. I find them extremely interesting and informative, and I guess I told you, I really don't need the permit log, which is difficult to read, but I just want to know why we're not getting the reports.
I found that answer out for you, because that was done before the software enabled them to do a log of an actual permit inspection log. So you're getting what is automated, that the system allows, versus someone having to manually produce that report.
But that is this thick, and it's so minuscule you can barely read it. It's so light you can't read it, and what did you have to go through to get this information for each town, or does it have it?
It's produced, it's a log, it's a printed computer log, which Dan Hagberg uses as well in Kinnelon and Butler as his monthly report in those communities. And in the past, they would do a manual report, but now they are able to do it through
And it has
automation.
this information on it.
It's all there.
Okay, I'll check that. Okay, will do.
I just think going back to that is going backwards.
Well, I think getting one sheet that tells you all that information on inspections, finances, how much money we collected, how many permits, is on one sheet, and it's very easy to read.
There's a summary sheet of those reports.
Each one. Well, it's like 10 times the amount of paper as this.
Anything else?
No, but if you're done, I'd like to table the consent agenda items until after the closed session. And the reason I want to do that is I would like to discuss that, and our attorney told me that because they're executive minutes, we can't really discuss them publicly.
I have no problem with that.
Okay.
Okay, council okay with that? But before we continue, just a few items. Union Firehouse roof was repaired again, so I'm asking the firemen to keep an eye if there's any more leaks after this rain. The Senior Center Geotechnical Engineering Study will begin on June 5th. The Walter T. Bergen restroom design is complete and will be out to bid by June 15th. Road paving will begin Thursday, starting with Jeffries, Knowles, and Borough Hall side driveway. And again, it'll be Thursday. New paving for 2013 will be DeLazier Place, 3rd Street, intersection of Reeve and Oak, Sophia, sections of Clark, sections of Hillside, Red Twig and Star Lake intersection. Again, on June 11th budget adoption.
Just one question
Yeah.
on the Jeffrey side.
Yes.
Is there any notifications for people living with that street that it's going to be closed off, you can get around at certain times?
We can talk to the police about using the reverse 911 and posting the bulletin for it. Other than that, no. Would you like that done? You're talking about on that page? Yeah.
People got leave from work and come home, they're still working, they came out.
Well, their goal is to start after primary rush hour, so. We could do reverse 911 specific to Jeffries and Matthews. I stated, Sloan Park, final DEP release should be coming, and bid should be June. Van Dam sidewalk started today. I emailed the council advising you I have reviewed the lease on the County Nutrition Center, which needs to be memorialized because there hasn't been one in a number of years, and I have requested a rent increase. I'm waiting for them to get back.
We did that last year, though, and they said.
Well, we were told it was done last year. I don't have anything to memorialize that either, so.
Oh, okay.
I will let you know. I got a favorable response from the county administrator, and we'll see what they come back with. But I'm not looking for, they're paying us $900 a month now, and it's been that way for 20 years. So we'll see what they can do. The email policy we discussed at our last council meeting has been sent to all boards and commission members for our volunteers to sign off that they understand the new email policy, because their emails, personal, are operable. And the policy again stated that everything must go through department chairperson, paid secretary, or president, whomever person may be, and those persons were provided with the borough email. This is an effort to save about $2,500 for the borough, in lieu of providing every single volunteer an email address for the borough, which again was $2,400. The policy that we adopted requires that every email correspondence goes through the secretary, president, and so on. So if something is Oprah, that borough email can be Oprah to identify those emails. There's a Mayor's Wellness Campaign food drive through May 31st at the Walter T. Bergen School. The Sloan Park Waterfall Village and Oakwood signs have been received. Those were damaged by the storm, and Sloan Park's been installed, both Park, I meant. Waterfall and Oakwood should be installed by the end of the week. Cleanup Day, we had over 320 volunteers. It's a great, successful day. Our utility department. The utility department has done the last 3 projects in-house. Fire hydrant install, curb boxes, and 2 water main breaks, one on Bogue, and today one on the corner of Fichter and Woodward. Our goal is to make the investment in machinery that they can do them all. They have been renting machines, and to date, on those 3 projects, again, there was fire hydrant, they've always done curb boxes. It was fire hydrant, Bogue break, and today's break. We're in excess of $10,000 savings compared to sub-out costs on those 3 relatively small projects, so that's a good sign. New health insurance that we have authorized to transfer. We have enrollment days tomorrow at 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. and Thursday, 30th for our staff, also at 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. For any employee who needs help with their enrollment. Janitorial service, they'll be doing a blast this weekend, beginning on June 3rd. What we often authorized. Okay, that's what I have at this time.
What is the cost of all the new signs, and where did we pay them?
Cost them, those were on Bill's list a number of months ago. They average about $1,900, I think it's $2,400 for the big wood carved signs, but it was part of the FEMA claim. Okay, I need a motion to, do I have a motion to hold this on the agenda? Just-
I'll make a motion to table it till after the late executive.
Anybody second that?
Second.
Okay, and just we'll deal with it after executive for Councilwoman Shortman's request. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Pending business, we need to adopt Resolution 2013 5.9, confirming our January appointment of Edwin Howard as our Quantic River Basin Regional Sewer Authority liaison. Who makes that motion?
So moved.
Second, please.
Second.
Any discussion, other than thanking Ed for serving? And roll call.
Councilmembers Conklin.
Yes.
D'Amato.
Yes.
Delariva.
Yes.
Short.
Yes.
Sondemire.
Yes.
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 Thank you. Item B, second and final reading and public hearing on ordinance 14, 2013, street openings and excavation restoration requirements. Public notice statement, please.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, this ordinance was posted in the municipal building, published in the Herald News. Copies available to the public, and the motion may be made that it be read by title.
And who makes that motion?
So moved.
Nobody has the Sondemire. Any discussion on that? Please. All in favor?
An ordinance of the Borough of Bloomingdale, the County of Passaic, the State of New Jersey, the Code of the Borough of Bloomingdale, amending Chapter 20, Streets and Sidewalks, Article 2, Streets, Chapter 20-11, Street Openings and Excavations, Section
And who makes the motion for a opening public hearing?
So moved.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
And just for the public, anyone wishing to speak, this is simply putting guidelines and rules in place when a utility company like PSE&G, our own, comes to Borough and does road openings, that they have some obligation to put it back the way it was. And there's provisions on, depending on size of areas disturbed, whether it's going to be infrared, curb, 50% center line in, or curb, or paved curb to curb. So we're putting rules in place that our construction code will be able to enforce when permits are pulled for such work. Okay, so there's a motion opened. Any motion to speak? From public on this ordinance?
Yeah, maybe John.
Well, then, please come up, state your name and address for the record.
It could be Tom Tracy, Market B, Racking
Mm-hmm.
Road. When you do that work, is there some kind of like a 2-year guarantee or 3-year? Sometimes I see these things, they sink. I mean, it's great that they're going to, pave all nice for us when they get done with their work, but is there some kind of...
Well, the point is, there's been no rule in place. That's why you see the sinking and settling, because there's been no accountability.
So we're talking about putting a rule in place now?
But a rule in place with specs on the compaction that has to be done, specs on the fill that has to be done, and the type of pavement, to then hopefully avoid the settling and sinking that we see.
That's what I'm saying, because that's what I see.
And having an ordinance is a local law, so having it in place will allow us to, again, have accountability and then come back to these contractors and/or utilities if in 2 years it failed again.
So written into that, would there be some...
There's no time frame written into it that it's a 5-year guarantee or warranty that we will provide. We'll have the enforcement mechanism too.
Should
Make
it
it
be
right.
like a year or two or something like that?
Again, by the ordinance will protect us forevermore when this occurs. I'll give you an example right now. We've had nothing in place. And I have a list of every single road that PSE&G worked on since 2006. And I've been meeting with PSE&G, identifying each and every one. And even though we didn't have the ordinance, they're willing to come back to make us whole. And then going forward would be the ordinance to protect us.
Well, I think it's great that we're looking at this as a council, and I hope that there's something written into the program that says, if it sinks after 3-6 months, I don't know what the time frame is. I mean, things sink, right?
Right.
I would like to see something written into the contract.
Well, again, the ordinance in itself gives us that protection, so we keep going after it. Thanks, Jim. Thank you.
This is grandfathered in, chapter. It goes back 5 years from... PSEG.
No, PSEG is just doing it.
Not-
They're just doing it.
That's just PSEG.
Correct.
Not the other utilities.
Well, the only one that happens. Yes, sir.
It's about 16 types of road down. So you're saying even when our people open up roads, you gotta fix it.
Absolutely.
The end of Ryers, we did put a white line around, is that fixing it?
Just because they're going to infrared that patch, so it'll blend with the road and not look like a patch.
How long?
How long until it's done?
Yeah.
Within the month.
Month.
Yeah, it's been there. How long? Oh, no, you're talking about the curb box recently done?
Beach Street.
Oh, by Belisara?
Yeah,
Yeah, again, a month, because if it's 2 weeks, we'll all be happy.
a month's a long time, John, for a big pothole in the middle of the road.
No, no. You didn't say it was a pothole. It's a pothole I could have it filled immediately.
Oh, it's sunk in.
You're talking along Hamburg Turnpike at Belisara.
Yeah.
Right. It'll be infrared, so it looks like it never happened within the month. If it's a pothole, I'll deal with it tomorrow.
Won't you drive by anyway?
No, I know the spot. Yeah, the utility, actually,
Our utility did.
correct, our utility will be infrared. And I'm telling you a month, because I don't want to tell you 10 days. because-
I don't think it should be 2 days.
Well, I agree with you.
I mean, it's awful. It took-
Conservatively, I'll tell you
It took
one.
1 month to fix a pothole at the bottom of Schoolhouse Hill. They just fixed it today. I mean, I'm the only one that sees these. The road foreman rides around. You don't see these?
The road crews out patching
Nothing.
potholes every day,
Every day?
every day. There's a lot. But on you talking about Delaysia Place, or the one you just referenced?
No, you got it down by Reeves Avenue. They fixed it today.
Okay. Well, right, that entire intersection will be paved brand new.
But I'm talking really about the one by Ryerson.
That was our utility, and there's about a dozen that they will be infrared within the month. And again, I hope it's within 10 days. I'm telling you a month.
I hope it's within a week.
Well, that would be ideal. Then we'll all be happier. But I say a month for that reason. It's safer that way. Anyone else? Okay, so your motion to close public hearing? All in favor? Now I need a motion to adopt 14-2013.
So,
Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Councilmembers Tomato.
Yes.
Del Rippe.
Yes.
Short.
Yes.
Sandemeyer.
Yes.
Yazdi.
Yes.
Conklin.
Yes.
Okay, second and final reading, public ordinance 20-2013. This is eliminating the 1,000-foot distance between consumption liquor licenses. Public notice statement, please.
Mr. Mayor, this ordinance was posted in this bill and published in the Herald News. Copies available to the public. Said a motion may be made that it be read by title.
Who makes that motion?
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
An ordinance of the Borough of Bloomingdale, the County of Passaic, State of New Jersey, the Code of the Borough of Bloomingdale by amending Chapter 6, Alcoholic Beverage Control, Section 6-4, Regulation of Licenses, Section 6-4.4, distance between the licensed premises, to eliminate the requirement that there be a distance of 1,000 feet between culinary retail consumption licenses.
Thank you. And who makes the motion to open the public hearing?
So moved. Second.
All in favor? Anyone wishing to speak to ordinance 20-2013, please come up, state your name and address for the record. Seeing no one, do I have a motion to close? So moved. And a motion to adopt?
So moved.
Any discussion? Other than this is in an effort to promote Main Street growth and allow possibility of cafes and more entities looking to have consumption of liquor licenses on premises. This is not more liquor stores. This is not more liquor licenses. This is, again, we're maxed out on those. It's just allowing more growth on Main Street. New roll call, please.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
Just one question. Isn't it possible, maybe it isn't, that when this situation arises, if we handle it as like a variance on a case-by-case basis?
A variance would cost an applicant $5,000 to $7,000 to get. Why would we want to put applicants through that?
That much money a variance for
Depends
this?
on what the requirements from the board. Conservatively, $2,500. But, it's going to grow with professional testimony and whatnot. To answer your question, is yes, you could do that. But we're looking to make it law that you don't have to do that.
So if there were 4 restaurants right in a row on Main Street, all 4
That
could
would-
serve liquor?
That would be wonderful, wouldn't it?
I guess if you drink, it'd be wonderful.
No, the 4 restaurants. We should have that.
Yes, they could.
They
If there were
could.
4 liquor licenses available.
If there were 4,
But
yeah.
we're not increasing the number of liquor licenses,
can't.
so the only way to get a liquor license is to buy it from somebody else.
Right, I think there's only 2 currently available. There's 2 inactive right now. There's only 2 available right now.
So we only have selection.
We actually have more than population quota. Grandfather. Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Councilmembers Del Rippe.
Yes.
Short.
Yes.
Sandemeyer.
Yes.
Yazdi.
Yes.
Conklin. Tomato.
Yes. Okay, new business. Adoption of resolution 2013-510. Payment of the bills, who makes that motion? Any discussion?
I have discussion on the bills.
Sure.
I was going to make a motion to put the bills online with the agenda. Should I make that a motion?
Well,
or
we should have
will
done
we
that
do
at the non-agenda section, so people would have had time to comment. So it wouldn't be now, but,
I see what you're saying.
yeah.
Okay,
We can put it on January 11th, because it'll give time for James to talk with Webmaster and Sherry.
okay,
Because it's a large document.
okay.
And I'd like to have a conversation on that. I'm all about transparency, but I can just see that causing more problems as well.
Okay, I see on this bills list that we're going to pay B&B for the Clean Communities Day
Yes.
food, $1,400. I would just make a request, I don't know whether it's you or whether it's the committee who hires, but I would just like them to consider asking another local place to do the next catering, so that we give everybody in town with these type of businesses or who can handle it, give someone else a chance to do it. I also see that on this bills list, we are paying $2,700 for the framing of the pictures down the hall, and I imagine in here too. And I don't think I can take a bills and vote, pull one bill. But since this is already done, and because of my last meeting's conversation about, I guess it's up to $15,000 that we paid for the renovations to this building, various things. I have no problem with the work that was done. My only problem was that I think when we spend that kind of money, the council should have the vote on that. So that's my reason for voting no on today's bills list.
Anything else?
No.
Anyone else?
I'd just like to make a comment on it, that B&B wasn't the only person who provided food at that event.
Correct, Danny's Pizza also.
Oh, my, that's not on this bills list, though, is it?
I don't know.
No, the only one is $1,400 from
But,
B&B.
yeah, there was quite a lot
Well,
of
that's
pizza
good.
also considered too.
You know, yeah, when I was there, you mentioned pizza, and I thought, I didn't know B&B did pizza.
No, that was
Okay,
done by
well,
hand.
that's good, I appreciate that.
Okay.
Thanks.
Roll call, please.
Councilmember Short.
Yes. No.
Yes to pizza, no to bills.
That's right.
Sondemire.
No.
Yes.
Yazdi.
Yes.
Conklin.
Yes.
Tomato.
Yes.
Delariva.
Yes.
Okay, next item is Resolution 2013-511 through 519. Tax Office resolutions for tax title lien certificates. Again, we're simply redeeming, the borough's always been paid on these by a third party. We're now redeeming that third party because the owner and/or mortgagee have made this whole. There's 8 of them. I'm sorry, so through 5.18. So again, who makes the motion for 2013-511 through 2013-518? Tax resolution identified on your agenda, 10-0001 through 12-00024. Who makes that motion?
Seconded?
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Councilmember Sondemire.
Yes.
Yazdi.
Yes.
Conklin. Tomato. Delariva.
Yes.
Short.
Yes.
And then I added item C. I need a resolution, and Jane, I apologize, but I do have the resolution. So we're not voting. This is a resolution 2013-5.19, which is a resolution to adopt a 3-year cooperative agreement between Passaic County and the Borough of Bloomingdale to participate in the Passaic County Community Development Block Grant fiscal years 2014, 15, and 16. Who makes that motion? Second. Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Councilmember Yazdi.
Yes.
Conklin.
Yes.
Tomato.
Yes.
Delariva.
Yes.
Short.
Yes.
Sondemire.
Yes.
Thank you. Need a motion to open late public comment?
Second?
All in favor? Anyone wishing to speak, please come up, state your name and address for the record.
I have a number of questions, so I'm going to sit.
Sure.
Linda, Hayes, Experian, Linda, Bloomingdale. First thing is, John, at the March 26th council meeting, you stated the council was canceling debt for $939,760 and that $210,000 of it was grant money. And you stated that this canceled debt was going to be used to pay down debt. In the budget, I noticed that there was only $300,000 in there being recognized as revenue for a capital surplus. Is only $300,000 being used to pay down debt?
And then 400,000 was reappropriated for new capital projects.
So what you said at the meeting isn't what's happening?
Well, it's resulting in borrowing less and paying down debt, so
Well, no, because you said it was going to be used to pay down debt. You said nothing about being used for, about spending it.
Well, you could go pay down your debt and then go borrow new 400,000 to spend the money for this year. Same difference.
Well, no, it's not, because the purpose of you saying that you were going to be paying down the debt is that you stated because how Moody's felt that we had too much debt.
no. Moody's felt we had no surplus, was the reason for our reduction.
Well, also it's because of our debt burden. And our,
The biggest result in our Moody's reduction was lack of surplus.
well, I'll just ask a little bit. Okay, so at the May 14th meeting, when you said you were going to spend the 420, which is the difference of between the 300 and the 939 and the 210, that you'll be using for those bonds, which are the new for the first time those in the paper that I see.
Right.
That's $140,000. But in the budget, it states you're planning on borrowing money for the damaged stormwater lines on Hillside and Rafkin Road, the generator for the DPW, And for new computers, I mean, now the bars would be another $912,000.
Generators, it's all coming out of the new capital ordinance, 420,000.
That's not what it states in the budget.
I have to review with finance tomorrow, but we're not, we have no debt in bonding occurring for those projects whatsoever. Fred, can you address that? Yeah.
Well, I'm not going to be able to attend the budget meetings, which is why I'm going to be asking some questions about.
Okay. Something, give me that again, because I want to verify what you just asked. And in the budget, you're saying there was $900,000 in
$912,000 is being used for damaged stormwater lines on Hillside Drive, and Rafkin Road, and the generator for DPW. I can show you right on the budget.
Actually, the hillside basin problem is a $30,000 repair. Rafting is a minor for about $11,000, so I don't know. There's no new debt, we only have very minimal deposit money in the budget. So we're trying to new debt we could.
You're taking $325,000, this is on sheet 40B. $325,000 is coming out of the capital surplus, and then you're going to have debt authorized of $912,000.
I don't have the document in front of me. We're not authorizing any new debt.
The budget is a planning,
We're not authorizing
a
new debt.
planning document. So this is a wish list. If we wanted to go ahead and take care of all these things, yeah, it could be as much as 900,000. But what we decided so far is to take care of the items that the mayor mentioned with the 400,000.
The stormwater replacement,
So we're not with this budget passing $900,000 worth of new debt
the
protection.
borough hall improvements has using capital surplus of $150,000.
Right.
The stormwater replacement is going to be using, I guess, capital improvement fund of $3,000, and authorized debt of $57,000. The computers, smart boards, and cameras, these have taken $1,250 out of the capital improvement fund, and $23,750 out of debt authorized. The various road repaving is going to be $125,000 out of capital surplus. The remediation on DPW wells is $60,000 out of capital surplus. DPW generator is $3,750 out of the capital improvement fund and $71,250 out of debt authorized. And the Rafkin Road sidewalk curb and paving is $40,000 out of the capital improvement fund and $760,000 of debt.
Right, but most of that project is, that 900,000, most of it is one project.
But you say there's no new debt being issued, how are you going to do these projects without using
No,
new debt?
we took out, we authorized the debt for Rafkin Road project.
Right. That's the only thing we've authorized.
So what about the remainder of
The
that?
remainder items, again, stormwater replacement. We're funding within the capital surplus. We're not borrowing new money.
So this budget document's wrong?
No, here's the way, we have to go borrow the money, 800, 900,000, to take care of Rafkin Road. Part of it's going to be paid back by grants.
See, but the only amount that you're expecting to have to pay is $760,000, so why are you taking out a bond of $800,000 or $900,000?
$700,000 to take care of a road. Some of it is covered by bond, some of it is covered through assessments that are going to for sidewalks, and some of it is going to turn into bond.
We've only authorized in a bond ordinance the amount of money needed for Rafkin Road. We have not authorized $912,000 worth of debt for stormwater replacement and smart boards or the generator. The generator will be funded out of the capital surplus. The road repaving will be entirely funded out of capital surplus. So again, the only ordinance that's been introduced to date is for Rafkin Road, no additional. Again, this would show an additional, not counting the $48,000 in available deposit money, if we were to bond money for stormwater replacement, smart boards, and generator. those items are going to be able to be paid for out of the capital. There's been no debt authorized for those 3 items.
Well, I don't know how much that extra capital you're planning on is also changing. I mean, if you put $300,000 into revenue, that means you're going to be repaying that debt. And the remainder is at $400,000.
We've already been repaying that debt. It was permanently funded money, not new debt.
Oh, I understand that, but there's all that's left is $420,000, because you stated that $300,000 of that was going to be used to pay down all the debt. Are you saying you're not going to be paying down all debt? Which is what you said at the meeting? No.
By
Well, that's what you said. I'm not-
using existing debt.
What's your point? Where are you getting to?
My point is,
Just
if
complaining?
you state at a meeting that you're going to be canceling a capital bond and using that money to pay down debt, I expect you to be canceling that bond and using that money to pay down debt. Now you're telling me you're not going to be doing that. So I don't know what to believe.
You're absolutely doing that.
So you're actually doing what?
We're paying down debt.
But you're not.
We are not borrowing, whether we stop
I don't like
borrowing,
the tone. I'm not talking to you nasty. I don't expect you to talk to me nasty.
whether we borrow less or we pay down debt, the net result is less debt.
But that's not what
At
you're
the
supposed
end
to.
of this year, we're gonna have less debt than we had last year.
Then why are you saying at a meeting that you're going to be paying down debt?
You don't like the words paying down.
You
You
said-
would rather hear, we're gonna not borrow as much this year.
I'd rather
So
hear the-
end result will be the same,
I'd rather
but
hear
my words, I'm gonna say it in a way that no one else understands it but in the company. That's
Excuse
the
me?
way you
I
got
think
us.
anyone, if you told anyone you were paying off a credit card, they think you're paying it off. You're not doing that.
Something, well, first of all, 200,000 was grant money, so at least 700,000 of whole permanent bonded money available to use.
$739,760, yes.
If you're making the recommendation to the governing body to use all that money directly to pay down debt, okay, fine, that's something we can take under advisement. But then, we need to pay $230,000 worth of roads, do the stormwater replacements, do a lot of items that were neglected for years and years in the borough. We'd have to borrow new money. So, the decision of the governing body upon final adoption June 11th will be not to take 700,000, use it all to pay down debt, to allowing us to borrow, have to borrow anything. So if you're recommending, don't do that. Take 700,000, put it all towards debt, but then go borrow all that money to do these projects, unless you're saying the projects don't have to be done.
No, what I'm recommending is that when you say you're going to be doing something, that you do what you say you're going to
And
do.
again, if I stated on the record that we're canceling debt, we're canceling all money to pay down debt, and we're using 300 to do so and 400 to not borrow more to fix failing infrastructure, I'm comfortable with that statement.
That's not what you said, though.
When did I make that statement?
You made it at the March 26th meeting.
Okay, before the governing body put any capital plan together for this year. So rather than bond and borrow
March
more,
26th, you had not done anything. I don't think that's true.
you can ask the rest of the governing body members. I mean, we either, to your point, spend it, pay all that debt down and then go borrow it
That's
again.
not to my point. It's to the point that what you stated at the meeting. If I'm going to be listening to what you're saying, I'm expecting you to be telling me what's going to occur.
Okay, and I
But
will,
if that's not true, I think you should be more clear and more transparent in telling the citizens of this town exactly what you are doing, and not to make it look like you're doing something you're not.
thank you for your comments.
Could I just add to that? I know that I had some controversy and voted no on that ordinance, not because of the roads, not because of two parts of it. Basically, it was the municipal complex. But when I went back to the video and looked at it, and I guess you're saying now that's changed, because it was take the 900,000, take the 200,000, and the money we're spending, and your exact words, and the rest we will use to pay down debt. Okay, you did say that. So I think before we vote on that on June, the next meeting, we have to revise it and clarify what was said and the reasons why. That's what I
Is that the purpose of
expected.
Thursday's meeting?
30
No,
meetings, we're
that's
not
the
going
meeting.
over debt. We're taking this confusing
No, not the
document,
budget, that's the
40-some odd
ordinance
pages,
we're gonna vote on.
and breaking it down into a couple of pages for simple to understand. That's for your average Joe to understand. Everyone complains about our taxes being high. Average tax is roughly around $10,000. We up here control about $2,600 of it. That's it, $2,600. And out of that $2,600, I can break it down to what's debt, what's police, what's our emergency services that we pay for, what's garbage, what's taking care of our roads, you know, the services that you're paying for, right? So breaking it down. Are we going into this much debt? You said it this way, you said it that way. What's the point? What is your point? What are you trying to get
I'm
to?
just saying where the rest will be used to pay down debt. Then
We will
that's what
have
should
less
happen.
debt.
If it changes, tell us before we vote on
We
the
will have
ordinance.
less debt at the end of this year.
That's not the point, Ray.
That is the point.
Is, if we're not gonna pay down debt, then before you vote on that ordinance, tell us what changed.
When
If
you-
it changed, just tell us. I'm only talking about that one ordinance that we're going to address at the next meeting, and that was what was said. If it changed, clarify it.
So, okay, and if nothing's changed. My statement in March was the intent is to cancel old money and pay off debt.
The rest
Okay?
will be used to pay down
And
debt.
okay, I will stand on that statement, followed by the fact that since then, we've done our capital plan, our road paving, the Rafkin Road stormwater problem, the hillside problem, which has been in existence for 5 or 6 years, and all these items that the borough investment needs to be done, and the decision that is now presented to you in the budget is to use that money that's already funded to do those projects. That's now my position. Now, if you don't like that position, then what your position would then be is to not do that, pay down the debt, and then go borrow the $400,000 in new debt. So, in essence, we are paying down debt. We're not borrowing new
I
money.
definitely understand that, but when we're now in the middle of voting for an ordinance, does that ordinance need revision, or does the money in that ordinance for roads change because we've added new roads?
No, last year's roads were last year's roads. The $230,000 of the $420,000 in the bond ordinance is for this year's roads, the one I identified earlier in my report, which I actually shared with you,
Yes,
the list.
yes, right.
So none of this should be a surprise today, because we were all aware, prior to the introduction of the ordinance, that this is how we were going to achieve the capital investment this year without borrowing new money. So again, if you don't agree with it, then vote no for the ordinance, which would be that your position is to borrow more money to do these projects. They're not wish list projects. These are projects that absolutely have to be done. I mean, I didn't know we were going to get into this. I don't know my budget file, but I mean, Rafkin Road, you have stormwater pipe leaking, causing havoc. Hillside, the same thing. Hillside and the corner of Reeve. Paving roads, the Leisure Place, 3rd Street. How else are you going to pay for these things that have been neglected for years? Generator. We will buy a generator this year for DPW. It is foolish that our DPW doesn't have a generator. When we lose power, they lose power. That'll be done. So you're either going to do it by canceling old debt, or to your point, don't do it that way, pay the debt off, and then go borrow new money. So, again, that's where we are today.
Just to correct my wish list comment, it's a planning, right? It's a planning document. You put down everything that you plan on getting done, then it comes in front of council and gets voted on. Just so I can correct that and I don't get picked on for using the wrong words.
Okay, okay. I'm sorry. Yes, anything else?
Yes, on April 1st meeting,
Just tell us the change.
you stated that in a couple of years, the council will have to amend the ordinance for the lights to extend the payoff time, because 10 years is too short a period of time. However, you stated on patch that the debt with the lights would be paid off in 10 years, and you also stated at a meeting when I specifically asked that question, that the lights would be paid off in 10 years.
You don't start paying the debt on the lights until you go to permanent bonds, okay? So it depends on when you go to permanent bond on that money. Our goal is to pay it off as a note, not even go to permanent bonding on about 4 million of our debt, including the light. So that's a moot point to what you're raising. But if you don't go to permanent bonding for 4 or 5 years, then you probably could, within the Rose Fund structure, pay the lights in 10 years. Again, when I go back to, we had Green Acres money for 20 years, it would have made it a much more affordable payment plan.
With a higher interest rate.
Slightly, yeah. But again, without strapping your Rose Fund.
I guess my question is, are the
You
lights,
can't get 20-year money for 2%.
are the
So
lights,
don't say
You
it's a
can't
high
bond
number.
those lights for 20 years because the bond council has told us that the period of usefulness is 10, and that's totally their prerogative. This wasn't up to a council to
Because
decide.
Ms. Owen, your question is, are the lights going to be paid off in 10 years?
Because you guys gave it back. You had the option of taking 2% money. You said, no, thank you. And now we're forced into
What?
paying it
No.
off in 10 years with higher interest rates.
lower interest rate?
No, we're not have higher interest rates.
about the same.
They're lower.
Higher interest rates. It hasn't gone to bond. That day
Right.
will come.
Correct. On the notes,
We're going
it's
to pay it
low.
off before that.
But your question was, will it be paid off in 10 years? The current ordinance says it must be paid off in 10 years. But 10 years from what date? You don't know that
I
date
guess
yet.
when this was going out to vote, it stated it was going to be paid off in 10 years from when the lights went.
No. That's impossible. You don't start paying it until you go to permanent bond. You know
You
that.
just said you can pay it off, you can pay off the notes before you go to permanent bonding.
Sure you can. But the ordinance is structured that it's paid off in 10 years from the Rose Fund. But that's, again, it's structured, the ordinance, which, again, you created, I didn't, that it would be paid off in 10 years from
No, that was
permanent bond.
bond council.
That's the bond
considered,
council.
not us.
But again, that's not something that I supported going 10 years on. But when it goes to permanent bonding, per ordinance, yes, it has to be paid. Can I sit here today and say 10 years from today, or 10 years from November 2012 when it was completed? No, absolutely not. It's 10 years from permanent bonding.
Are you planning on revising that ordinance?
I believe we could have it paid off before we even go to permanent bonding. With the
Are you
surplus,
planning on revising that
No.
ordinance to extend it?
No.
Okay. This year, you deferred $240,000 of this year's expenses because you were going to get the reimbursement from FEMA. In 2011, when we had Hurricane Irene and the October 29th snowstorm, you stated that we should not be deferring any of that money. Both you and the CFO told the council that.
deferring,
Excuse me?
deferring.
Yeah, put it like you did this year, $240,000.
We're fully
Right, so
funding
budget-
it. We're fully funding it this year's budget.
This year's budget was last year's expense.
Correct. You do an emergency appropriation.
But we did not do that in 2011, and we were told we couldn't do that in 2011.
Okay, no, 2011, you did an emergency appropriation and had it funded in 12. Last year we had fund.
Not for the total amount of expenses that were incurred. We did not defer that in 2011.
What did you defer in 2011?
It may have been 50,000 if that.
Okay. You deferred exactly the payment that FEMA was going to give you.
We did not defer $154,000.
Well, the difference this year is we're getting 100% because we're getting straight time. So there's no out-of-pocket for the borough.
But last year.
So you do it as an emergency appropriation in 2012, and we fully funded it with the reimbursement from FEMA in 2013. It's always how it's been done.
No, it was not done that way in 2011. That's why the budget did have some issues, because we paid for that out of the current budget.
Because you had an obligation of 25%. This year, we don't have an obligation of 25%.
But we got back from FEMA
75%.
$4,000, and we did not defer that amount. And if that would have been deferred, it would not have been an issue with the budget. I'm not laughing, I don't think it's funny.
No.
Yes, I think so, because your budget had a bunch of issues, man.
No, it did not.
And it's going to cost us $30,000 a year for at least the next 10 years.
No, it's not. It's so ridiculous.
That's what it's
What else
costing
do you have?
to destroy this town.
I'm not even into it.
What else do you have?
You just sit there and take on words that were said.
Excuse me. John Tomato. You reported in the transit stating that the painting and the carpeting are part of routine maintenance, which was funded by a bond whose purpose was for municipal improvements. This is just a matter of information. That maintenance is a current period expense, not a capital item. You cannot use a bond to pay for current maintenance expense.
I did state that when you put paint on the walls and you're doing upgrades that we do, that's routine maintenance to paint.
Right? You can't use a bond to pay for that.
It was for the bond from 2008 was for improvements to municipal.
Capital improvements, painting and these other items are not capital
The
improvements.
paint was paid out of the capital. The paint was done by DPW and out of the DPW budget. What was paid out of the capital was the carpet and such capital items. And the heating and air conditioning repair and the roof that we're still working on. So, painting, I don't think was paid out of the capital.
I noticed that for the DPW, roads, garbage and trash removal increased by $10,000 or 1.2%. But the salaries for the water and sewer department increased by $61,000 or 15.7%. The individuals that work for DPW and that work for the water and sewer department have the same contract, thus the same rate of pay increase. Why did the water and sewer department salaries go up so much?
You want to take this,
Yeah.
or you want me to take
No,
it?
I'll take it. Utility salary wages went up partially due to contractual, partially due to contractual as some of the other income goes there, because Sherry runs, finances, runs the finance for the utility and so on. But the bulk of it is because we are reducing capital outlay in the utility by bringing in most of the work rather than sell it. So we're going to have increased payroll. We're looking, you'll see the
You're
increase.
hiring people for the water and sewer?
We will have DPW workers focused there, and there will be overtime as a result. The end game less. Last year we spent $150,000 subcontracted work. We are confident that can be reduced by $100,000 by bringing more in-house, but making the investment, which, in the defense of all past governing bodies, there's never been the funds to get the tools needed. And with Avalon Bay's revenue of $1.1 million, we're using $400,000 of that revenue, as I stated on the record, look it up, that we will take that money and direct invest it into infrastructure by buying the backhoe, by buying the jackhammer, by buying the generator, the things that our guys need to do the work. So our own machine operator, who's a DPW employee, will be doing that work. So there will be an increased cost in labor to our DPW, but at the same time, we've lowered the cost of capital outlay. So the net will be a savings at the end of the year.
Well, what I understand is that I believe that the water and sewer department should probably have had a decrease in their salaries because the CFO's salary was previously included in there, and that salary was decreased by $75,000. And also, there was additional $12,000 included there for the borough administrator's salary, which would have been $87,000. Now, even if you had increased it by $61,000, you should have still decreased it by that $87,000. And I don't see that happening. And you cannot use water and sewer money in any way to reflect any municipal expenses.
Correct.
And it appears that that's what your problem is.
Absolutely not. We are doing purely utility-related expenses.
So you're saying that you're going to have another, I guess, $147,000 additional expenses? So you're going to have, I guess, maybe 3 people almost full-time working in the water and sewer department?
Again, I anticipate at the end of the year, net savings of roughly $60,000 to $90,000 on our capital outlay because we'll be doing the work in-house.
So you're going to expect to have an additional $147,000 of expense in the water and sewer department, water and salaries. And so you'll have that much of a decrease in the DPW salaries and expenses.
No, it's overtime that we'll be paying, so we don't decrease in DPW.
So you're going to have overtime for DPW, $147,000.
No, we anticipate it to be the $60,000 increase.
Well, then what about the decrease that should have occurred with the CFO salary and?
I'd have to look at detail on the contractual obligations that went up. I mean, there's still some salaries going there. Finance, we still have a CFO, we still have our finance, we hired a new full-time finance person. So, I mean, I'm rounding, I'd have to look at the exact detail of what finance actually declared there, which I can do for you.
Okay.
By the way, a lot of what you said is funny numbers. You were making up funny numbers when you were sitting up here, and you're doing it again.
Right.
Funny numbers.
Right,
Can you be an adult,
right,
please?
because you don't really know what's going on.
Because, no, $60,000
Right,
change,
right.
right? And you're talking $147,000.
John, can you control me,
That's
please?
funny money.
Right.
Then you're playing with this funny money money and you're taking it out of out of the water and sewer and putting it into offset taxes, and you cannot do that. There was an ordinance passed prohibiting that.
My point is that you're seeing 60 and you've grown it to 147.
Because I had to
That's funny,
add an
man.
additional 87, which is the 75,000, plus the 12,000 for the borough administrator.
Just funny, man. That's all.
No, it's not funny money,
Actually, you cut the 12,000 because of our administrator.
but it never came out of the water, it never came out of the water and sewer. No, the budget.
Do you have anything else?
That's it.
Thank you very much for your time.
Anyone
Anyone else? Yes, please.
I was gonna bring it up, she brought it up already, but
Yeah, sure.
And the mayor sits here, and he doesn't say a word either.
Mark, just be happy we don't have last year's ordinance, where there's a 5-minute limit, no give and take.
It's not the limit, it's the decorum.
Give and take.
Al Miller, 7 Main Street. All right, so I understand, I looked at the budget going through this, along with Linda said, but if you take $60,000 of salary, take them out of the municipal budget, and put it against the water department, it's gonna drop your overall budget, expense budget by $60,000.
We didn't correct, reduce.
If you had done that, but,
Well, that's what we did.
and I get that it may appear that way, but that's not what's happening.
Well, but that's $60,000, is that gonna be an increase for everybody's water bill?
No. Zero increase.
Because we've lowered
Zero
the capital.
increase. No increase.
Because we've lowered the capital. Last year, we spent $150,000 in subcontracted work. We're looking to eliminate that expense.
I understand,
by
all
putting
right, you got 4,000, you can buy equipment, tools,
Right.
and have the, yeah, that's not a question about the $60,000.
But it wasn't a reduction in DPW, okay? Because there's going to be increased labor on DPW offset by the utility, which is the net, is going to stop our outsourcing.
I don't understand, to me, if you take 60 from expense, and you roll over to water and sewer, to me, it's gonna be a time. I could be wrong, I'm not saying you guys are wrong, it's not a
You're
point.
not seeing it.
I don't understand.
Correct.
I appreciate someone like yourself that don't understand it coming up and,
Yeah, no,
hey, it looks this way, right? But look, we all run for council with certain goals in mind, right? One of the goals I've always had is to stabilize taxes. The $2,600 that this council controls, I'd like to stabilize that. And we're going to achieve that. The 50-some-odd dollar increase this year, it's as close to stabilization as we've gotten in a decade. We're getting there. And a lot of it is because of this man sitting up here. Call it coincidence, call it luck. He's now a full-time, he's paying attention, and he's delivering a great budget. To come here and pick on the words he said, you said it this way or that way, shameless.
Question, okay? Linda, I'm sorry, I don't want to put you on the spot. What's the $2,700 for pictures? What is that?
Framing of these pictures down here and downstairs, I guess.
These, the ones in the hall, the veteran pictures,
Well, we paid $2,700 on a frame?
I don't know.
Can I ever have a picture frame?
Municipal.
It's very expensive to have them done.
Well, my question is, again, look, right, I'm not trying to, look, do we really need to do that? Was that important? You know what that is? That's my first quarter tax payment, frame pictures. Is that really important? I mean, do you guys approve all
That's the
approve that?
veterans. That's the veterans, it's important that's being out there.
John, I'm a veteran, man, I served,
Well,
okay, I'm a veteran.
and I think it's very
But
important
I
for
think,
us.
well,
And I
there's a lot of
appreciate
other
your
ways to show appreciation.
Let me tell you something.
$2,700 is a lot of money to pay on a frame.
There's been a lot of things that you don't know that we've discussed that we'd say it's a lot of money. But when it comes to making your borough hall, pride in what you walk into. Now, you have to admit, coming in here, you have a little bit of pride in what you're looking at, the same results. $2,700 for picture frame.
Someone stop, hey, look, it looks
Okay.
nice, okay? But the point being is, there's a lot of people that live in this town. If you went to them and said, hey, would you like to take $2,700 and paint your house and put new carpet in your house? I'm sure they would say, oh, yes, we would like to do
We
that.
just did it in our house.
Well,
No, this house, I'm talking, this is not.
no, it's a matter of money, that's all.
I'm sorry,
Louise Miller, 7 Bear Street.
I'm sorry.
You just posted online, you can pay your bills and everything else. Who do you think is going to come here and see all this stuff? You can't get anybody to come to meetings because the disrespect from some of the people on the council is unbelievable.
I don't disrespect anyone.
I said some of the
Okay.
council. And they know who they are. And the person who's supposed to be in charge of this meeting doesn't seem to control it either. And you know what? This is why people don't come here. Because you know what? People have enough stress in their life to come here and watch this.
Well, let me just- let me
$2,700
can I
to
just-
get a lot of these people some food on the table, okay? And these pictures weren't hung before? You needed the
They
frames
were.
to hang them?
No, they were not. They were.
Okay.
I
know what? You guys better start facing reality, because you know what? You guys are spending money, and you're spending our money, and you know what? We're not your local ATM, okay?
Can I just,
And you know what? You can be as sarcastic as you want to, okay? But everyone sees it.
well, I'm,
Thank you.
can I just,
Every- before you-
can I just please comment, and I appreciate your comments, okay? Since January, all the work that we've seen done, in my opinion, needs to be, the amount of savings that John has brought to this borough since January is over, I think, a couple $100,000.
Where am I going to see it in the savings? All I see all the time in the paper is the spending. I don't see it in my water bill. I don't see it in my taxes. Where am I
We're
going
trying
to see
to
it?
get to that point that you're going to see.
$55?
the tax-
That's not even going to get me a tank of gas.
You're right, $55, but what was it last year? What was it the year before that? Hundreds.
But what's it going to be next year?
Hundreds.
After all
Hopefully
this
zero.
spending?
Hope it's zero.
Okay.
That's our goal.
And
We're at
if
55 now.
anyone comes back, we're not going to be ridiculed that Mr. D'Amato said hopefully zero, and it's not. Are we
That's
going to
my
be ridiculed?
No, every year, my
Well,
goal
you know
is
what?
zero.
You can
We
speak
start with
yourself
zero.
a little bit better than
I
just
apologize.
always.
If I offended you, I
You offended
apologize.
me and you offend a lot of other people. And this is not the first time that has happened. And this is not the first time I have been at a meeting. You don't need to call me ma'am, because you know what? That doesn't oversee everything else that you say.
Let me just say
And you
that,
need to really take control of the meeting.
look, when I was running, I felt the same emotions that you're feeling.
I am not running.
Your husband is.
That doesn't make a difference.
Well,
That's my husband,
What's
not
that
me.
got to do with anything?
It's nothing
Jack,
to do with it.
he's got conversations, having conversations.
But when I was running, I felt the same feelings. I would come up here and I would talk to the 2011
That's
council.
over and done with. Why
it's
is
not
it
over
okay
and done
when you
with.
guys
Why-
have,
why-
when you
why-
guys, when it's over, when you guys do something that's
Everyone.
over and done with, it's over and done with, we don't want to talk about it. But you keep bringing up past council,
Because-
there's nothing we can do about it, it's spilled milk, it's done, fix it.
Right, but I've never heard you speak about that spilled milk, and the
I
impacts that
don't have
spilled
the
milk.
knowledge of the spilled
Well,
milk,
that's-
but I do have the knowledge of when I'm being disrespected, or any other of my citizens in this town being disrespected. And there's certain people on the council, and I will say it again, that are disrespectful to the citizens that come out here. This is why you don't have people coming out here.
And I think we had good attendance all of last year and the year before, but,
Well, I don't know what's
but you mentioned all you
happening.
read about is spending. There was an article about $120,000 health insurance premium savings. There was an article about a reduction in, overall payroll. There's a, you pick up a $2,700.
Where am I
John,
gonna see that?
John, we've read all those, okay? I mean, the concern is now, okay, I have a concern for everybody else in town is, you know what, we don't want the spending to get out of control, that's all, okay?
That's
I mean,
why,
again, John, not being disrespectful, but you know what, when you're looking to save money and give things back, and this is my opinion, and, don't take it the wrong way.
I
To me,
appreciate it.
$2,700 to spend on picture frames, do we really need to do that? The carpet is great, the painting looks great, but, do we need to throw another $2,700 in? I'd rather see you go out and buy a piece of equipment for our people to work on the water lines. That's what I'm saying. I mean, you get the intention that it's just not gonna stop, it's gonna be run away.
It's not going to be.
What's been done in this borough for $15,000, we haven't even gotten the bill for the carpet yet. I don't have a problem, I truly don't have a problem with upgrading and doing some of these great things. It's the fact that the mayor, acting as the borough administrator's responsibility, is spending this money. Not one of us voted on
That's
any
not
of
true.
these things.
Okay.
If I had a chance to vote, I would not have hired Empire Carpet, because you're going to be replacing this carpet in 3 to 5 years. I would have gone for something,
it's the same exact product as an estimate I got for $5,800.
I think it's poor quality.
I have another question.
I just
Okay?
wanted the vote.
Yeah, I'm
I
sorry.
think we're elected to
You know
vote.
what, Al, you need to really get up, say your
I'm
name
sorry.
just for the record.
Yeah, for the record, Al Miller, 7 Mary Street, but again, my ignorance, and then another question, how it works. I mean, I thought the council approves all expenditures for things need to be bought.
Okay.
Is that how it works?
Again, if they're budgeted items, there's a set, you have to run the day-to-day operation of the borough. Councilman Petro and I disagree on the part, and to make things more copacetic in the future, you have a budget, you have a current operating budget. Okay, so the department heads can spend purchase what they
Expensive.
need, correct.
Yes.
And, as long as they don't exceed budget,
Right.
that's their operating budget. The bond ordinance that was done in 2008, that in essence is your funding mechanism. So,
Okay, but that's supposed to be for capital only, correct?
all right, but the,
Yes, okay,
right, but again, the paint was paid out of DPW's maintenance budget, the frames, I believe, were paid out of the administrative line item, for just operating the borough. Capital, I think so far came out of, was the carpet and the air conditioning and all that, I don't have it in front of me.
I understand the
The
fact.
point is, when you have funding in place, the bond in place, that's you've already authorized the spending. So when we've done a bond ordinance like on Rafkin Road sewer,
Right.
when we start spending money to the mason, the surveyor, and we just got a bill in today for $6,000 on the survey for Rafkin Road. That's not gonna come back to the governing body to vote on that bill, because they authorized it in the $700,000 bond ordinance.
Right, but that's capital. We're talking about if the carpet and painting.
If it's within
and
budget,
pictures Are expense.
if it's within budget, no.
Doesn't that have to be reviewed by council and they have to permit, approve?
Not if it's within the operating budget.
Beginning of the
Do you-
year, the mayor brought something forward saying, we got $70,000, I'd like to upgrade things, and he asked us, and we all voted to approve that bond to be
The
converted
council
to be
only
spent.
once has to approve $70,000, okay, and
Let me
let's
say
go to
that.
Mayor, let's go to the borough administrator, that role for now. I'm not being disrespectful. So you give him one approval for $70,000, he can go out and spend $70,000 any way he wants and doesn't have to go back to approval for anybody on council.
Well, this is now, I'm gonna come back to your
No, I'm
comment
asking.
last
Yeah.
week, right, about the, getting Thames. Well, not the whole town, but, you know what I'm saying, and I go, yeah, I get what you're saying. Does the individual get anything they want to do? They get $76,000 to go waste? No. That's not the way it works. The mayor wrote to us. He approached every single one of us. He had conversations with all of us. At first, I wasn't for the carpet, right? But when you start seeing improvements and you start seeing, the pride back in the room, then you go, you know what, let's do it.
Yes.
And you know what,
Let's
if
vote
the
on it
pictures
first.
look better in a frame,
That's-
let's get the framing done.
I don't
And you know what,
I don't know, Ray. You know what, I can't, I'm sorry, maybe I'm wrong, but I just can't see paying $2,700 for picture frame.
$1,200, would you have paid?
I don't know, I would have, you know what, I would have went out and bought it, put it in and hung it.
Al, I don't mean to,
John, you know,
I don't mean to be disrespectful.
Down,
I don't mean to be disrespectful, but, you're entitled to everything you're saying, and, it's what I call silly season, your political times approach. And I respect that. Well, no, let me finish. Well, you will when I ask you my question. Why weren't you here last year as upset that we spent $5,000 more for the auditor, and in 2011, $100,000 more for the attorney?
I did ask questions last year, and the gentleman.
You have more passion about frames than you did last year. I'm just
John, you know
curious.
what, I just think it's, I get ticked off on the phrase because of what was spent on that. Okay? I mean, look, I understand what you've done here, I understand the $400,000 for capital, I agree, you do have to buy police cars. I agree with the purchase of the radio. My only question with the radio is, I don't want to get off here, but I remember going to the Board of Ed meeting, the Board of Ed agreed to pay for something.
$10,000.
I hope we pursue that.
Sure. Oh, absolutely. They're going to be
I
about
understand that.
$45,000.
I'm okay with
We
it.
have to fund 47.
Yeah, the only comment I have with that, and I wasn't going to bring it up tonight, but we're talking
No,
about
that's
it.
fine.
I just hope we pursue it.
The money
Board of
we
Ed,
have-
so they give us some money towards
Well,
it.
they are.
We got more than that.
We're still waiting on our license,
Okay.
to move forward.
I just-
But my question is,
Yes.
and again, I respect your opinion, you're entitled to it, that you weren't happy with the money spent on the frame. But I didn't hear that same passion from you. You should still be mad today that we spent all that money on an audit. That we spent all that money, because that's affecting us today.
Audit for what?
He saved us a lot of money.
Well,
We got the $82,000 out of the DPW.
Get you the
His
bottom.
recommendations, his recommendations.
John, for the record, when I can, I've been coming to the meetings for the last 2 years, okay? I haven't been proactive coming to meetings because of my, my political, whatever you want to call it. I've been coming for the last 2 years.
That's great.
Okay?
But, and again, I just haven't thrown at you that.
That's fine.
I just never heard you upset about that.
But
And that's.
I've asked questions, I remember we had a conversation, who's the gentleman here? I asked the question, we spoke, quite a conversation on the total town debt. That was a very good conversation. I asked the individual, I forget who he was, he sat here on the end last year, the auditor.
George.
The auditor, we talked about the total debt of the town, he said, you know, overall the town was in good shape with debt, everything was fine. That was a very good conversation. I have brought different things up, it just, to the point now where I just see that we have the highest taxes, everybody knows this, highest taxes, not only in the country, but also within the state of New Jersey. Okay, I gotta be honest, I'm okay paying my taxes, I don't like it, but I can afford it. The point being is, you know, we have a lot of people, residents in this town, that should be saving for the retirement, they should be saving for the kids' education. You know what, that should be a number one priority for all of us, is to give money back to,
Absolutely.
that's all I want.
That's why we have to, that's why we have to build revenue.
Okay, John, can I ask you a question? We keep talking about this expenditures. Do you view a capital ordinance as budgeted?
When you approve an ordinance, that is the mechanism for authorizing the spending. Yes.
So that's why you said that you
And our
don't spend this
CFO,
money
our
because it
CFO,
was
Our
budgeted?
CFO and treasurer would agree with that statement. That when you authorize the debt, you authorize the spending.
So in 2008, that's what paid for all this?
Well,
back
it was a
then?
bond for municipal building improvements.
Okay, is
That
there
was
any
actually intended
amount
for the
that,
restrooms. That was never done.
is there a limit to what you can spend without a vote here?
Well,
You
it's
know?
what you've already authorized.
So there is no limit. If there's $50,000 left in the capital and it says municipal complex improvements, you could go out and do it?
Right, but the answer technically is yes, but let's back up. Two things. On the carpet, which is just an issue that doesn't seem to want to go away.
You haven't paid for it
I
yet.
did reach out to the governing body, for the record. Okay, I got 3 estimates, or actually 4 estimates, ranging from $3,100 up to $9,000. I was so detailed in my explanation with council people, including yourself, that Barbara's office, tax office, was included. And I was asked to take that out. So we didn't do that, we just did this. So there was emails, there was discussion.
Absolutely, there was discussion, there was conversations, and I walked in and it was done. I thought it would be a vote,
Okay,
sorry.
all right. Well, I disagree that was the perception you gave any of us that you knew wasn't getting done.
No, I really
I
didn't.
didn't.
You just kept saying, I don't need approval, but I'll
I disagree.
ask you.
But what I've done with every expenditure is come to you out of this capital. I've come to you. And I stated on the record last week. So there is no more animosity. There is no more problems on the bond ordinance that I will come to you. You know, there are, I already have proposals for the generator. So I guarantee you, on June 11th meeting, when you adopt, or wherever you choose to vote, the bond ordinance for $420,000, immediately after that, will be authorizing the generator, road paving, and all these items that need to be done. And there's your vote. So I don't have to hear a problem that is not intentional.
Thanks.
Anyone else in the public?
Jack Miller, Revap. Got a couple questions for you. Deed, I guess I could say I'm using you as the mayor and the administrator. Just DEP permits.
Yes, sir.
Where do we stand? I know he was applying for them early March when I had a flood meeting. And where do we stand with the permits for Sloan Park?
Welcome to the pain of government. As stated on the record earlier, we should have the permits in the next week to 10 days. It should be out to bid by the end of June for a July, August building.
Okay.
So,
With that said, the reason I asked that is because when I was here in April, we put that money for Chestnut. I had people asking me when Chestnut was going to be done. Within a couple weeks. Here we are 2 months later.
feel my pain. Feel my
Just
pain.
understand where I'm coming from. So I'm asking you, so when somebody comes to me, I can kind of give them, I don't want to give them a month. I would rather say, listen, we're going to start in July.
That's-
To be safe.
That's why I was
you
teasing
know?
Mr. Davenport a month before we infiltrated Belisara, because I don't want to say a week. The process, the one thing which I've known all along as I've been there, and prior to that, the most frustrating thing is the process of government is painful. I mean, I'm from the private sector, and I'm moving at light speed, and trying to get through that part of government that I have trouble adapting to is the process. And no fault of, our staff is
Me
wonderful.
too, I work for utility, believe me, it's all
Well,
the time.
you know where I'm coming
Yeah,
from. The DEP, I mean, delays and the nonsense that they put you through to get where you need to be. The Van Dam, we were making sure we got a blessing on that before we proceeded, under the storm waiver rules. It took how long to get that? And so on. So, and then contractors availability. There's specialized contractors doing the snagging and that kind of work. So, it's painful. So, again, I would state what I'm reiterating what my engineer tells me, is that by the end of June, we will be to bid.
Okay. Now, from bid, how long after we bid it, they get it, we do it? So we could be talking August.
Oh, yeah.
Now, with that said, isn't there something with the coalition about going back into the riverbed?
November through March. So we got it done by the end of October. We will, I already talked to the engineer, we will write the spec that requires a completion by September 15th, with penalties if they don't. That's the incentive you need to give contractors to get it done.
All right, so we're thinking by September, we could be done with that part.
I'd like to tell you the end of August, but I don't want
All right, just so, again, so when people come to me, I can give them something. If I tell them September, okay, I don't like it, but if that's what it is, that's what it
to. This
is.
is what, 2010 bond ordinance?
Yes. Yeah. I guess I've been coming for a while.
It'll be done.
Another thing, the ditch that's on the other side of the ball field.
Yes,
I know Passaic County came up and they did some mosquito testing last year.
correct.
Water seems to be stagnant, and I hate to say that because it just rained and whatever, but water seems to be stagnant over there. Is there something we can do DPW-wise, county-wise, have somebody come up and check that?
It all,
Just because of
yeah.
people at the ball field, and I've been there for my grandson playing baseball and stuff, and it's not the greatest
And
smell and carrying on over there, you know what I mean? So, I have people asking me about that also.
something you can ask them?
Be over by my father-in-law's side, yeah, the trench side. So,
I'll take a look at it tomorrow. But it also ties in with the de-snagging, because, those kind of areas back up because of something else downstream, including why we're entered in the local shared service with Kinnelon on jet backing and
I believe personally that the thing behind, across the street from my mother-in-law's, what number is that, hon? 22, that culvert that got fixed there, I believe that has helped, because the last couple storms have been pretty bad. She used to get banged up, and she's been a little bit better, but we need to keep going with what's going on. You know
The
what I
biggest problem, which we're trying to get the blessing, because we still have money in that pond for de-snagging, trying to get the blessing is behind that home, behind, across the street,
Yes, right.
behind those houses. That's an entire two-block wooded area. That, according to DMC, who did the mapping that
Right.
we're now reviewing, is one of our biggest problem areas, causing a lot of that backup on both sides of those roads. I just don't have the blessing from the DEP to go in there without a minute to do de-snagging.
Yeah, That's
That's
what the
gonna
engineer
help.
was talking about.
Absolutely.
Yeah, going back in there.
Absolutely.
Because I think the people would let you in there.
No question. And we also got to get into back behind Ms. Huntley's house and all the way down to the animal shelter. That was done last year,
Right.
but we got to get in there again.
Right.
Because it just,
Right. That's it. That's it. Thank you.
Can I just clarify for the very last time, I will promise I won't bring up the frames again, but I think you were saying where it was paid from. It was paid from that capital.
was it okay? Let me share you.
That's all.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Yeah, can I bring it up again?
No.
I'm sorry, my foot's asleep. I gotta leave soon. Sorry.
Thanks for sharing.
A lot of people in town were over for money and,
Tom Tracy.
I'm sorry, I'm so sorry. Tom Tracy, 158 Rafkin Road. We're all scrimping for pennies and dimes around here in this town, and everybody says, our taxes are so high. My gut feeling is that not one penny should have been spent on this room, because I did not see anything wrong with the carpeting. Now it's better than the carpeting in my house. There was nothing wrong with the paint. There was nothing wrong with the molding. I don't think that anybody comes here to look at the pictures on the wall. I think we come here to do business. I don't understand. It looked great 2, 3, 4, 5 years ago. We're here to do business. we have 65 chairs here, we don't need any more. I hope we don't spend money on chairs next year. I just think that not one penny should have been allocated for this room. There was nothing wrong with it. Flags are fantastic, I like the logo. It just, I don't know, I don't want to say I'm appalled by it. I was not here at the meetings years ago. Okay, John, okay, I know, I was not here. I'm starting to come out now. But I hope going forwards that there's no more money spent where it shouldn't be spent. I don't think this room had to be painted. I don't think the room needed carpeting. I don't think that the town people need to feel good about coming into this room. If the ceiling was collapsing and the ceiling was full of mold and water and it was dripping and leaks and stuff like that, but the room looked fine. We don't need to come. I don't think the town people, those that do come here, need to come and feel good about the room. Okay? I don't need any interest back, but that's, sorry guys, but I don't think one penny needed to be spent on this room.
I respect your comments.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
If I could address that
Yes,
comment,
sir.
Mr. Tracy, I believe about that time that we were discussing all of these beautifications, we had a freeholder come through and hold a top of,
Congressman hosted.
yeah, I believe the senator did.
Yeah.
So it wasn't just necessarily for the townspeople, but the fact that other people from other towns, other, people who would be coming to, if we're asking them for money, maybe we would look better if it was us. But
Again, you're entitled, and again, I respect.
I don't necessarily disagree, but let me just say that it wasn't just for those of us who are sitting here today to admire. It's for,
If I had some friends come over to my house, I'm not going to pay for carpeting and paint the walls because my friends are coming over for a
No,
party.
he wasn't talking about, it's the capital of the borough.
I
And
understand.
it has to be presentable, and I disagree with you that it was perfectly fine before. And I think that most of the council does as well. I mean, I sat in early on when Councilman Sonnemeyer got involved, and it was embarrassing. There was ceiling tiles on the walls. This was a concrete wall, and I respect what you're saying, but I disagree with your statement that it wasn't needed. So we're both entitled to our opinion.
right. I guess my point was it wasn't friends, it was more like your boss was coming, or another coworker was coming.
And that's not the reason we did it either.
No, I'm
The
just
reason
saying.
we did it is because it's the capital of the borough. There's no, you're using your position as that we shouldn't spend money on flowers out front either, because what's the point? It doesn't matter. And I disagree with those kind of, image is everything, and I believe that is true.
I just think that they're trying to pinch pennies in neighborly yard.
But we can go, I bought new basketball nets for the basketballs. We shouldn't do that. I bought flowers. I bought $1,000 worth of flowers. We shouldn't do that. Mulch, new mulch for the gardens. We shouldn't do that. Where does it end? Some of it's just a sense of pride, a sense of maintenance, and just doing what's right for our borough. And it's not extravagant. We're not, turfing fields and putting domes over fields. These are maintenance. I mean, the carpet and painting hasn't been done here for 15 years in a municipal complex. And again, I respect everyone's opinion. I'm just stating mine quite clearly. And it happens to disagree with yours.
Okay, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you.
Everybody,
I remember when our congressman came, Freeling-Heiser, and I have to really applaud the DPW because I think things did look shabby. Whatever those guys did, he probably directed them, I'm told, that they were toothpicking into all the corners. It was amazing to walk in here. That's before any of this was done. It was amazing because he was coming, this place shone. It was, you couldn't walk in and not go, wow, it looks great. It did. And it still had the old carpet and the old paint, but that really, we have to applaud those people, the DPW, who do such a great job cleaning because under the mayor's direction, who I often disagree with, it was very, I felt a lot of pride coming in here that when our congressman was here. And it was simply a cleanup. It was great.
Okay. Anyone else wishing to speak?
Alex from 12 Walnut Street. I kind of wanted to comment on what you said. I've been coming to council meetings for how many years now? It's not just about, people that work here. People that work here want to have pride in the job that they do and the town that they work for. But not only have I come to the council meetings to have it be about the business, I've come to these council meetings to watch my husband receive an award, to watch my children receive awards, to watch other children receive awards, and to watch those kids come in here and be proud of the town that they're in. And this does make a difference. And so I love it. I come in here now and I think you guys did great improvements. I love to see it. I think it's fantastic. And I don't think it's about a senator coming in or just, it's also about the townspeople that come in here. The children, my children have been in this council chambers more times than I can probably count my hands and toes. They should be proud of that. They walk in here and the place looks nice. I don't want my kids coming into a dump. And I'm sorry, but I think it looks fantastic. I think you all did a wonderful job. I'm glad you voted on the improvements. It's fantastic. And I'm glad and I'm proud to have my children come in here on a regular basis and watch their dad get an award or watch the auxiliary stand up here, Little League, whatever it is. Those children should come in here and be proud of what they're here for. And that is for the town. My kids did cleanup day. I can't tell you how proud my daughter was to plant the flowers that you purchased. She was out there planting the flowers, a 6-year-old. It was great. I'm glad you did that. She drives by it. Every day she drives by it. She's like, I planted those flowers. Look, Mommy, I planted those flowers. Every day. Good for you guys. Those children should have pride in their town. So, good job, everybody.
Thank you, Dylan, and it's important
Change
to
the
say.
subject. Could I, no, I'm going
Can
to
I just finish my thought on that same subject?
go right
As
on.
Americans, we're so great at picking up the phone and telling the electric company that the power's up. But how many of us pick up the phone to thank the electric company? Because I just turned on my switch and it came on. The man has sat here, has saved us, he's going to be saving us over $100,000 just in insurance costs alone. And no other council member, past, present, going forward, would know about that unless you're in the insurance business, okay? All of those things, all the good that he's bringing, and all the attention is going to go to picture frames? Are you kidding me? How? Let's have some, you want to talk respect? Let's have some respect for what the man is bringing this town.
Councilwoman?
I forgot to mention Butler Day. I went over to Butler Day and there was a huge crowd. But it wasn't really unlike our Pride Day. But what they had, I'd like you to look into, they had a wonderful Morris County Parks Department band show. And it was great. It was like partially covered with lights.
Really nice.
I don't know if Passaic County has one, but I think we ought to check into it.
Fireworks were terrific. Fireworks
Yeah,
were
everything. It was great.
really nice. I was up there myself.
Mr. Miller, do you have a comment? Yes. I just want to say,
Say name and address.
I don't look at it.
Name and address for the record.
7 Mary Street, Bloomingdale, New Jersey. Greg, I don't look at everything just as bad. I mean, I read the article, John, I see what you did with the medical insurance, I see the savings for 2014. I just don't want to see all the savings go away. If the budget looks good, okay, for 2014, and Ray, take note, I will come shake your hand, okay? So I'm not looking to nitpick or knock anybody down. I do watch, I do understand what you do, okay? If it's good, I'll be first getting it done, okay?
I didn't really do what you did for the insurance, but I think I have to point out the fact that there are some of us, by working together and conversing, had said, look at the phrase, you can change it if it's equal or better. And I don't think anybody in the past took note of that. And I think you did, and then you ran with it. But I think we all worked together on that in a very small way.
Anyone else?
I have to talk about the insurance because 2 years ago, John, we discussed the insurance and we already had white collar and agreement for it because we could change it as long as it was don't know that.
But there was no savings.
Yes, there was.
It was not, because our loss ratios were not good, please.
But this was not something that all of a sudden you just dreamt up and that's
No,
why
I
it came about.
revved it up in 2010,
It came about,
my first year in office.
it came, well, it came about,
I've been doing, it
came out.
my
before,
first
so
year in
it's not
office,
something brand new.
I ran with the idea, our loss ratios were not favorable, we couldn't get a good premium. So I've been doing it every year.
But it's not something brand new that all of a sudden just,
Well, it is, sure.
no, it's not, it's something that was,
True or false, is it something brand new that is now saving us $120,000?
it may be saving somebody, yes.
Is
It's
it
not
brand
something
new that's
brand
saving
new.
us $120,000?
No. It's something that was discussed previously.
Insurance services. How
You know,
about
let's-
all the other? I can go on and on.
Does anyone else wish to speak? Jesus. Seeing no one, motion to
Stop the
close,
disrespect,
please.
right? Stop it.
Do I have a second? All in favor? Our executive session, 5 minutes of negotiation, minimum 5-minute recess. Okay, 9:58, we resume in public portion of the meeting, and I need a motion to approve the consent agenda. So moved.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Any motion to adjourn?